finished these notes yesterday, right? So we kind of reviewed all that. We went over the orbital diagram. We talked about the different shapes. So sphere versus dumbbell, dumbbell, and then complex, meaning it's a lot. And so we got to kind of look at these pictures to see those actual shapes. So we see that one looks like a circle. That one looks like a dumbbell when you go to the gym. This one looks like the dumbbells crisscrossed. And then these just got weird because we had donuts and stuff in them, okay? You kind of see, though, I wanted to point out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So basically at that midpoint, you're now dealing with all of these shapes intertwined, okay? And so you can kind of see that if you were to stop at the one right before it, those electrons were wanting to steal it from here. That was that complicated thing that I said they have to do at the midpoints, okay? So you can kind of maybe not picture it. I think it's kind of hard to. We can look at that video again. But basically they want to put one more on that plane. That's what it has to do with, like which plane or axis is it wanting to fill up, all right? So it just has to do with that. These all stack on top of each other within one another. And these fit inside of that third or the fourth level, okay? But anyway, so we have all those shapes. We wrote those down. I think we're good. So we're going to flip the page over. We're going to look at this part, okay? All right. So what we're going to go over today is something called noble gas notation, all right? And it literally, we're going to write 2 sentences, and then we're going to try it, and you guys are going to love it because it's less things to write. Yay! You guys get to learn the summary thing because you guys have done so well up to this point with electron configuration. You deserve it. So noble gas notation. I promise it'll be your favorite. You're never going to want to go back. But I'm going to force you to. I'm sorry. Okay, so noble gas notation. Basically all that we're going to write. Make sure we write the same thing as first. There we go. All right. So what you're going to do for noble gas notation is you're going to find the noble gas in the previous period. What do I mean by previous period, by the way? What is it in normal people terms? Previous what? Row, right? We're going to look one row above, all the way to the right, noble gas. Because that's the noble gas that's closest to whatever element you're going to be looking at. Okay. You're going to write this inside parentheses, not parentheses, brackets, and continue. All right? So right inside brackets and then continue. So for our first one, we're going to deal with sulfur. We're going to write the normal electron configuration just as a warm up for your brain. You guys are going to shout it out to me. I expect everyone to be participating in this. We've had some practice now at this point. So make sure you are doing that. You can use your little periodic table to kind of help you decide on your energy level and your sub-level and things like that, right? So let's all find sulfur. We got to figure out where sulfur is. What sub-level is sulfur in? And sulfur is S, by the way. Sorry. I guess I have to remember that. We don't always know that. So sulfur is S. So it is in the P sub-level. Good. So we're right here. So what is going to be the last thing that we write for sulfur electron configuration? What would be the last thing that we're going to write for electron configuration? It is 3p4, exactly. So what she said was third row, P sublevel, 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. So the last thing that we're going to write, the place that we know we're going to end is 3p4. I always like to write that on the side just so I know, all right, I'm just going to write the same thing over and over and over, and that's where I stop, right? So let's go ahead and go. So we start with 1s2. And here's, sorry, real quick. We wrote these extremes because as you go through them, that's what you write down for your electron configuration, right? So, so we're going to go through that first row. So we ended up at helium. That's 1s2. Then we go to the next row. Now you guys can continue on. And I'll just kind of point where we are. 2s2. So now we're at beryllium. We're going to go all the way through this row. So we're going to have 2p6. So now we're at neon. What comes next? 3s2. So we jump to the next row. We go all the way through magnesium. So 3s2. And then we're going to end at 3p4. Perfect. All right, awesome. So give yourself 2 little squiggly lines, and we're going to write the noble gas notation. And believe it or not, it can fit in that little space right there. That's why you're going to love it. All right. So for noble gas notation, we're going to look at what we just wrote for our notes. That way you guys are applying your notes here. So we're going to find the noble gas in the previous period. So put your finger on sulfur. You're going to go up the row. So up a row. And we need a noble gas. So the noble gas is all the way to the right. So the noble gas that it's closest to is going to be neon. Not this way, because if we do it this way, then we'd have to subtract electron configuration, and that just sounds weird. All right? So we go up and over. So we're going to get neon. We're going to put him into brackets. And then continue. So from this point, so we're at neon. We're going to write the next thing. What comes after neon? Yes. So what would be the electron configuration? 3s. Yes.
Where does 3p4 come?
So third energy level, P sublevel, and then we count it across 1, 2, 3, 4 to sulfur. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so we were at neon.
3s2.
We're going to put 3s2, 3p4, and that's it. That's noble gas notation right there. So it's the summary version. So what noble gas notation allows you to do is it means all the electron configuration for neon and then some. That's why we can't go whatever, what's next? Argon. We can't do argon and minus some. That's just weird, right? So you have to go up a row all the way to the right, and then you're going to continue on. You guys like that one better?
Yes.
It's so much better. I agree. All right, you start getting dizzy when you're like 1s2, 2s2. Did I count right? And yeah. All right. Gallium. All right, so gallium. I challenge all of you guys, by the way, to go home and ask your parents, hey, do you remember doing this? And I just want to know what they're saying. Because a lot of people are like, oh, that was terrible. It's a lot of people's worst thing because it just gets so annoying writing it over and over and over. But anyway, gallium, go find it. And then tell us what sublevel it's in. It is in the P sublevel again. Good. So we got to get all the way over here. But what do you notice? What are we going to travel through? We got to go through the D sublevel. Yay! All right. Do you guys want to do noble gas notation? Yeah. Good answer. All right. So we're going to go up and all the way over. Who's our noble gas? It's going to be argon. So we're going to put argon right here. Okay. And then we're going to continue. So we're at argon right now. We go to the fourth row. We're going to say 4s2. Continue. You're following the periodic table, you guys. Just follow it like a map. We're going to go across the D sublevel. So what are we going to put? 3d10. This is where we had to jump back. So now we're at zinc. What are we going to end with?
With 4s1.
Not 4s, but 4p1. Good. Yep. I'm going to leave that there for a second and let it sink in. Let you kind of realize what you just did. And then do you have any questions so far? No? You know where all those came from. We're all good? Okay. All right. Change your mind. You have a question, let me know. All right. So we're going to keep going. Vanadium. Go find it. And let us know where it's at. It's in the D sublevel. Good. Look at the top of the D sublevel, you guys. The third one over. Yep. It's be right there. Okay. All right. So we're going to try to get to V right here. So we're going to start. We'll do noble gas again. That's your favorite. Where are we going to start with? We're going to start with argon again. So we're going to put argon into brackets. And then we're going to continue. So we're going to come to the next row. We're going to say 4s2. And then what? 3d3. Exactly. You count it over. 1, 2, 3. So again, that little number is coming from counting across, right? So 1, 2, 3. Yes. Yes, those little bubbles of space, they're in specific ones. I'm going to keep showing this little thing, right? And so basically when I put neon into brackets, I'm saying all of those bubbles of space are there, and then we're going to continue on. So you're basically saying everything inside, and then we space specifically where it ends, because that's where your valence electrons are. So the important thing about the last guy, like the last thing that's always written, is 3p4, for example. I'm just going to go back to this one. 3p4 tells you where the valence electrons, or that outer shell, is, okay? And so, so with noble gas notation, you're basically saying, okay, so we have all that stuff inside. Doesn't really matter exactly where they're located, because they're all set up the same way until you get to the valence electrons. And that's what makes your element who it is and have its certain properties, right? Because they react certain ways. So everybody in group 17 has the same valence electrons. Everybody in, does that kind of make sense? And so this noble gas notation allows you to write it, and we're only putting what's important, kind of thing. You're really simplifying it to make sure you're focused on just the important electrons, I would say. So you're with chlorine first. So orbital diagrams. Chlorine is over here, right? So we're going to be ending at what? Give me the electron configuration, the ending point of it. 3p5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So we're going to end at 3p5. That's good. So what I like to do is I like to go through, if I give you all those letters, write out your electron configuration. What's up? Somebody's out right now. Sure. Okay, so 3p5 is where we're going to end, which means all of these guys are full. So could we technically do noble gas notation for this? Yeah, who would we use? Neon, right? And that would get us through. So if you want, let's just save us some time. Put neon in brackets right there. We'll go like this. That way we'll save time. All right. Okay, so here we got 3s. So we know that we're going to fill up. So 3s2. So we're going to go up, down. When we do 3p5, how do we fill up? We're going to say up, 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 down, oops, down, down. Okay, so make sure you are practicing it that way. Up, 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 down, down. Sorry, mine looks really sloppy. Up, down, up, down, up. Okay. All right. And then we don't have anything in those other boxes. Okay. All right. Chromium. So for chromium, I said that that's where things kind of get a little interesting, because it's the halfway point. All right. Or it's right before the halfway point. So what we're going to do is we're going to also do this one, noble gas. I hope that's okay. We're going to jump back one. We're going to use argon in brackets, which will get us to, what does argon get us to? 3p6. Good. So actually, we're going to go woo, like that. Okay, so 3p6. We've got all the way through it, and then we're going to continue on. So 4s. So after 3p6, we have 4s2. Where do we end for chromium? 3d4. Okay, then I want, not applying the special rule, we would just fill up our 4s2, right? So we would go up, down, and then we would say up, 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 up.